Welcome back. Let's just have some more fun before we continue. Let's go in and make an else statement right here that pretty much says that either we are going to show the components or we're going to show a loading screen depending on if the components are actually loaded yet. Again, remember this is async, so we don't know when the data is going to get back, and that means that it would be cool to kind of see a loading screen while it gets the data. We're going to make a very simple loading screen just saying loading, nothing else. But let's just do right here, you can do something pretty cool. You can make an else statement and then you can put in like loading here to explain we want to call a loading screen in our code. Now, the way you make the loading screen is very simple. You just use something called an ng template right here, which is an Angular thing. And then here we could just say ... loading like this. And now we have a loading screen, which is very boring. But we only want to show it in the case where we kind of have loading running. So what I do is I pretty much in the template, I put in the hashtag right here and then loading, which matches the name that you put in the else statement. This means that when the ngIf is actually not having any data yet, it's going to show the loading screen. But when the data is shown up, it's going to hide the loading screen. See this in action now. I'll jump into my code and I'll just refresh. We didn't really see that loading screen. So let's look at something else, a magical thing called delay. Just to kind of prove a point right here, we'll jump into our code again. We'll go into our list component. Just to kind of show you guys how this runs, I'm going to add another thing to the pipe that you haven't seen yet. So what I'll do in the get all right here, and this, it's so amazing with observables. They are so easy to kind of change before runtime. So what we can do is we can say, using a pipe again like we did before, we can actually say here that we want to do something to the data in order to kind of manipulate the way it runs the observable. And in this case, I want to delay it. So let's just do a delay right here. And it's very simple. I'll just put in how many milliseconds I want to delay before it actually calls the backend. So this is just to show you that there's actually a loading screen for 5 seconds now, and then I get the data back. And it's a pretty neat way, again, for you to kind of see how your loading screen would work in the case of a delay, right? So you have to count to 5, but notice it's loading, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and boom, here's the data. And there you go. That's how easy it is to make a small test of your data being loaded in a slower connection, right? So that's the pipe with the delay that you can put on top of an observable. So I think that's a pretty neat thing. Now you learned about two things. You have the ng template now to kind of create loading screens with the async pipe inside the HTML. I know I'm using pipe a lot, but there are actually two different pipes. There are one for observables and one for Angular code, so they're kind of different. But here we have the pipe for Angular that kind of does the async and makes the template load whenever there is no data yet, and then it shows the data when the data is there. And at the same time, I just showed you a very, very easy way to kind of test it using a small delay right here in your code. We'll talk more about these pipes later on, but again, now you know a little bit about how you can actually add code to the observable before it's executed, and that's amazing. See you next time, we'll have even more fun. Now you have a little loading screen right here that can pop up. Bye.